One of the oldest debates in psychology is nature versus nurture. Whether our actions are more influenced by who we are inherently or by our environment and experiences. It is a question that has been touched upon in one way or another in literally thousands of films, but I have to admit I did not expect it to be explored so much in this one. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad features many characters who struggle with both who they have been in their lives and who they still have the potential to become. The most obvious of these is Polka Dot Man. His mother was a scientist who experimented on her children in the hopes of turning them into superheroes. Instead, some of her children died, and while Polka Dot Man gained powers, he was left traumatized by them, and they made his life miserable. His story runs parallel to Starro the Conqueror, an alien starfish that was imprisoned in an island country called Corto Maltese for 30 years. Experiments were conducted on Starro by an evil scientist named the Thinker, in the hopes that their natural abilities could be exploited and weaponized. And then there are the fathers in this movie. Bloodsport is a career criminal and killer, trained from birth by his mercenary father. He severed ties with his own daughter in the belief that this would give her a life free of influence from people as bad as himself. But she still ended up making dumb decisions that risked ruining her life while still a teenager, and Bloodsport's own past was still used as a threat against her. Ratcatcher was another career criminal, but unlike Bloodsport, he raised his daughter and trained her to learn his abilities. She becomes a criminal herself and takes the name Ratcatcher too, carrying on his legacy. This was the exact kind of outcome that Bloodsport did not want for his own daughter, but he is surprised to learn that Ratcatcher 2 still loves her father. Ratcatcher 1 had personal demons which ultimately killed him, but he did his best to raise his daughter with love. These various story threads all have payoffs in the film's climactic sequence. Starro gets freed and gruesomely kills their tormentor. This is followed by a rampage in Corto Maltese, where some of their first victims are those who are hoping to directly profit from their continued torment. In fact, by the end of the movie, a great deal of those responsible for Starro's decades of torture, or hoping to continue it for their personal gain, are dead, their actions in the end causing only misery and chaos. Bloodsport and the rest of the Suicide Squad are ordered to walk away and allow Starro to wreak havoc. This is the pivotal moment in the story, as the main characters are now faced with the clear choice of continuing down the path that others had set out for them, or doing what they feel is right. Bloodsport chooses to try to save lives, even at the cost of his own, and his teammates follow suit. Polka Dot Man has a moment where he embraces that he can actually be a superhero. It doesn't last long, but still, it was a nice moment. Ratcatcher 1 was dead long before the events of the Suicide Squad, but he indirectly becomes one of the biggest heroes of the story. First, his mask saves his daughter's life from Starro's attack, and later she uses the abilities he taught her to ultimately save the lives of countless innocents. Ratcatcher 1 might have been a supervillain, but he had redeeming qualities as well, and it was these qualities that pushed Ratcatcher 2 towards her hero turn. At the end of the battle, we hear Starro's final words.
I was happy, floating, staring at the stars.
In addition to being heartbreaking, this informs us that Starro's own nature was peaceful, not aggressive or malevolent. It was being pulled from their natural place in the universe and the decades of torture that they endured that led to the mass destruction and instability. James Gunn's interest in exploring the nature versus nurture question within this world is likely not over. John Cena's character, Peacemaker, is getting a spin-off series, and we know that Peacemaker was also trained by his father to be a killer. It seems to be a safe bet that this upbringing and its effects on the character will be a key focus of the series.
My old man. When I was a lad, if I didn't finish a task right, he would dole out the punishment.
So stay tuned, I guess.